Hi everyone, Torrid Day. It's another beautiful day, and I am here with my boss,
You were doing nothing and standing up.
Ali Kimbe.
Have you started?
Yeah,
We have.
yeah.
You were standing, so I wasn't sure if we started or not.
Okay, how have you been?
Good.
Looking beautiful, clean,
Clean. Thank you.
smart. But you look a little bit tired.
Bro, it's been a long week and the week just started. So it's only Monday.
Ashia,
Hoping that it's
I
Friday.
never heard you talk pidgin.
Because my pigeon is not very good. It sounds weird.
Say something in pidgin.
Like what? That's
Just
the worst.
ask me
It's
any
like
question
when
in
you
pidgin.
when you tell me to say something in pigeon, it just sounds worse. It's just not good.
So you should have said that in pidgin.
Say what?
What you were saying. Or just answer my question in pidgin. How for you?
I did fine.
You sure?
Yes.
How was your week?
Fine.
What was the busiest thing you did?
Work. Shit.
And you just give one word answer, then if you make sentence.
But the question they ask me requires only one word, so.
So now that you're supposed to make a sentence, you answer in English.
Because again, I'm very cognizant of the way that I'm speaking the pidgin. Right, because you're telling me to speak pidgin though, and so it makes me more self-conscious. So if it had just come out naturally, then maybe it's not gonna sound weird or weirder.
Okay, most Cameroonians back home, most of our people back home, they feel like their brothers, their family, their people in the diaspora have too much money, or like it's just easy. What is the one thing you wish our people back home should get to understand about bushfallers, people who are in the diaspora?
Yeah, I think one thing that people need to understand is that it takes a lot of time for people to really establish and have money, because the American society, even though it looks very fancy and glamorous on social media or even in movies, that's not the reality of it. It's like people have to work very, very hard to get the things that they have. And even when they work, it's like majority of the money they have to pay bills. It's almost like you're working to pay bills. You're working to not be out on the streets. So if your person just fell bush, like, just know it's going to take them a couple of years for them to really be on their feet. So they might actually need you back home to be patient and actually support them, if you have the means to support back
Yeah,
home.
man, I really wish our people can get to understand money. We are not picking money,
No,
harvesting money the
yeah.
way they think.
Yeah, people feel like when you fall bush, you've made it. Like money just falls from a tree or something, but that's not the reality of it.
I'm a man, and I see it with friends, and some of them complain they can never get married to a woman who is smart, beautiful, hardworking, and but they will not say it plainly, right? But they just be like, oh, that can't get, I no fit. But then when you look at the woman, her characteristics or her qualities are smart, beautiful, hardworking, strong, and what do you think would be the problem?
I think personally for me, it has to do with the man's ego. Some men are very threatened by like independent women or like successful women, and that threatens them. So it's just an insecure man. That's what I'll have to say, because if you see a woman that is, independent, they have their shit together, they're smart, they can actually support you and you to build something together. And you know that if you're with this woman, you're probably not going to lack anything, because you know that she's going to work hard for you and your family, and you two are going to work hard and your family is going to be good. And some men feel threatened by that, because when you see a woman like that, it's hard for you to step in that space and just almost like, if you're that tall controlling man, you cannot really control a woman like that, right? And some men like to have that dominance in the relationship. Which again, it's not 100% a bad thing, but I think it's just men who are insecure. It's just men who are threatened by a woman's success.
So
That's
what
all
would you
I
say
can
to,
say.
to someone like that, a man who feels threatened by these beautiful, strong, smart African women?
I mean, you need to figure out, first of all, why you threatened by their success, or why you threatened by women that look like that. It's something internal. It has nothing to do with the other person. So it's something that the man has to figure out for himself.
I did not even ask you if you ever wanted to talk about sex and other stuff.
You've never asked me. Why do people always feel weird talking about sex as if it's not something that's normal?
So back in the days, when sex was mentioned, it was just what we call mommy and papa.
Yeah, it was almost like a taboo.
No, 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 not like a taboo, but I mean like when we were talking about sex in our community, it was just mommy and papa. Let me finish explaining. It was just mommy and papa. So the mom is there, the dad gets on top, and that's it. Nowadays, it's something else. It's becoming more like we see in the movies, and I have some friends who have complained. My wife is asking me to do this, or my husband is asking me to do this, one of these things that he saw in this movie, or blah, blah, like, and I don't want to do that. And it's getting to that place where some people, some couples are ready to divorce because of that.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, when I was growing up, I never ever heard my parents talk about sex. So it was just a non-existent conversation. So it wasn't something that was openly spoken about. And I think that maybe what it is that as the world is changing, people are becoming more comfortable talking about sex because it's everywhere on social media, it's on movies, it's almost like something that has become normalized. And also maybe women or men are also more comfortable asking for what they need from their partners. It could be like, okay, this is what my fantasy is. Can we actually talk about sex and have, you know, a healthy relationship? Because sex is part of a relationship.
That's true.
You know, so it's like, if you do understand what this person's fantasies are, or what are some of the things that please them, then you know how to please your woman and your man when you guys have sex. It's just people are more comfortable talking about it now and asking for what they need. So I don't know.
So what about a situation where I was dating this lady, and at the start, because for me at the start of the relationship, I make sure we have that conversation. What I can do during sex and what I will never do, or maybe something I'll never try. So what about we agreed on, okay, Nasako cannot do this and Nasako is not ready to try this. And then we get into a relationship, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years into the relationship, she starts asking for that specific thing, knowing fully well she made a promise. She was not going to push me on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's normal. If I'm being honest, it's just we as human beings feel like when people say something down the line, they can change their minds, or that maybe she can influence you to change by doing whatever it is to have you try different things. So maybe that's what it is. I feel like a lot of times, even in relationships, people get into it feeling like, oh, because of me, this person is going to change and do this. But that's never really the case, because people change when they want to change. They don't necessarily change because of another person. And that's just the reality of it.
White wedding, African wedding. If you were to choose one.
Oh, I would definitely choose the African wedding.
Why?
I think because it does have culture associated with this. It has all these traditional rites that are part of, you know, where you come from, and there are things that have been done and passed down from generation to generation. So all the little things that they're doing, it has some sort of meaning to it. And to me, it's also a way for you to invite, personally again, your ancestors to bless your wedding, because I'm somebody that I truly believe in my ancestors, or the people that have passed and gone before me. I actually, sometimes when I'm going through a hard time, I actually pray to people who have passed and gone before me and be like, going through a hard time, he'll come help me out, right? So I'll say traditional wedding just because of that cultural aspect that's associated with it.
I personally feel like the wedding is a wedding. It's either white wedding or traditional wedding. Like the African style of wedding. Like, I don't see any reason why people do the traditional wedding. You're dating an African, right? You do the traditional wedding and then you go ahead to do the white wedding.
I think both are significant, right? Because the traditional wedding, like I was saying before, it has that cultural aspect, or, you know, that thing that you're invoking your ancestors, or whatever it is, those traditional rites that you have to do. People look at a white wedding as a way of me blessing my wedding in church, or with God and things like that. And it's not like it's either or. It's not like I cannot do my traditional wedding and not believe in God. So people believe that I do need to go pay my respect from my background, and I also need to bless my wedding in front of God. So I think both of them are necessary. I'm gonna do, when I get married, I'm gonna do both.
So are you saying if someone is not a Christian, they're not obliged to go to church? Bless your wedding?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a Christian, you don't believe in God, then what are you going to go and do a white wedding for?
Is it even possible to be an African, like believe in our culture and then believe in Christianity?
Of course, it's not either or. I think
I feel
they're not contradicting. I think when it comes to Christianity or even just God or spirituality in general, it's just really believing in something that's bigger than you, a bigger power. Um, that's something that's bigger than you. Whether you call it God, you call it Allah, you call it whatever. It's just having that belief of something that is bigger than you, and that's what it is. My dad always told us that your church is in your heart, and so when we're growing up, it didn't make any sense to us. But as I grew older, it makes sense because it doesn't matter how many hours you actually spend praying. You can still pray and go out of church, and your actions don't match whatever it is that you're supposed to do as a Christian.
That's true.
And so when my dad told us, "Oh, your church is in your heart," it was more like you don't need to go to church every day, right? But you need to pray. Your church is in your heart, as in you see God in the people that you interact with. So it's you being kind to people, you being nice to people, especially people who cannot help you out in any way. So that's what it really means to me to be like a Christian. It's not about the amount of hours I spend in church.
Long distance relationship. Somebody's in America. They're dating someone in Cameroon. They're not even sure to return to Cameroon in 1-2 years. But they have a relationship, and so sometimes it looks like they're happy. What is your take on long distance relationship?
I think it's a personal preference, and it's also based on circumstances, right? Because you can have two people who legit care for each other, and the only thing that's separating them is like, I don't know, Atlantic Ocean, because they're in the US and the other person is in another country. And I've actually seen it work. I've seen people come here, establish something, go back home and bring their wives, and those are people that are, their wives or their husbands are waiting for them. So, I mean, it actually works. And sometimes, I don't know, sometimes it actually makes sense because you don't want the person in your face every day. You need space to miss them. But.
Okay. So you shared something about people going back home to get their significant other. Yeah. So now, one thing that is trending in our community, so many men, I'll just say men because it's very few women who have done that, but so many men who date around, sleep with women, our sisters, and then when it gets to when they want to pick a wife, they want to go back home and bring something that no one in America, no one around the community has touched it.
Yeah. I think those are men that don't respect a woman. Right? It's like you do want to sleep around and do whatever it is with someone else's, and so I guess someone else's kid, and you don't have respect for the fact that this person has opened up their body and they've given it to you. You don't even respect that. You just see it as, I'm trying to get my pleasure and get out. So those are men that are quite disrespectful. They don't respect women, and I have no respect for men like that.
I have a situation where a guy used a lady, and then let me just use the word dump, right? Used and dumped her, and then went home, brought the wife, and then this lady was like, you know what? I'm not just gonna lay here and then walk around and people laugh at me, and I'll make sure your wife or your girlfriend or whatever knows that I used to have something with you and it was this deep. And like, do you think that's necessary?
I personally wouldn't do that, just because the way that I deal with something is the way that I deal with things that are quite different. And even if you tell this woman or whatever and they break up, the guy is not going to come back to you, right? Maybe you get some satisfaction of, oh, he did this to me, he hurt me, so I hurt him back. Maybe for a few months or so you're going to feel good, but down the line you're probably just going to regret those things, because it's like, just let go and let God. I believe in karma. Like, the man's karma is going to catch up to him eventually.
I don't believe in karma though.
I do believe in karma, no shit.
Argument for another day. The Cameroon team, going on the Olympics, their outfit, did you like it?
I mean, yeah, it's the same thing that they wear every year now.
And that's where I was going. Now. So many people are complaining like, hey, it's like you've decided to use a part of Cameroon to represent us every time.
Yeah, it's the Northwestern outfit.
Yeah, but then we have so many other outfits that you can showcase to the world. Let them choose what they really like or like. Do you think that's a valid point?
I mean, it is a valid point. The only thing that I would disagree is it's not really about showcasing that culture. It's because, I don't know, that Northwestern outfit, even though it's traditional to the Northwest, you're actually seeing it now in different regions across Cameroon, just because of the way that it stands out. You know, it commands that type of presence. It has that presence on its own with the markings and things like that. It really has, I don't know how to say it. It has a presence, like when you see it. So maybe that's what it is. It's like I'm trying to think of another cultural outfit or something from a different region, and I can't even think of anything.
Yeah, but
because I haven't seen it.
what the West people from the Western region have is closer to what people from Northwest have. It's just a slight difference. So why don't we try even the outfit from the Western region?
I don't know. Maybe they're looking for whatever is gonna garner the most attention.
However, the outfit, like you said, it stands out. That's
it
not even
does stand
something we
out.
want to argue about. It stands out. But people just feel like from time to time you can change, or even if that's what you want to use, you can put a little bit of the other outfits to just give the impression that, okay, these people actually have this that they are proud of, but they have this and this and this and this. Now, the other thing is, personally, I feel like they are changing what we know as Togo to I don't know, suit their narrative. Did you notice?
Not really.
Yeah, you had some, the designs were kind of like different, and then they had a green and yellow instead, because normally Togo is, I think, red, yellow.
Red, yellow. It has some white in it.
Yeah,
too.
but then they kind of made it like just a green and yellow thing in like.
I think maybe they were trying to represent the color of the flag on it.
Yeah.
To showcase that it was Cameroon. It was from Cameroon. I think that's
And
probably
people
what it
were
was.
complaining at that point in time. It's not what we know. It's not the Togo anymore. It's
I mean,
not.
but people want something different, and they put something different, green, yellow, and it's not white, and people complain, and they do.
So
white
are you
and
saying
stuff.
it's okay to cook achu and put salad inside because you want something different? Achu is supposed to be achu. You cook achu
So
and
okay, so what you're I mean I get what you're saying. So what you're saying is if we're going to do the togo, let's keep it authentic.
Yes.
Let's not try to modify it. If we're
Yes.
trying to do something green or red,
Yes.
yellow. Let's be innovative and let's do something green. I mean, yeah, that makes
I
sense.
feel so, because I'll prefer for somebody from the West to try to do that, because they don't understand the culture, they don't understand us, you understand? Not that somebody from Cameroon try to do that, knowing fully well this is a people's way of dressing, and then you're trying to modify it, because that's what, let's not even go there, that's what the people are complaining. We are this group of people, but then we feel like you guys are trying to twist us to become something else. As a designer, what are you proud of when you think about where you come from?
What am I proud of? I think I'm most proud of the culture that surrounds me. Like, have you been to Cameroon or even just Africa in general? We're surrounded by like so much culture and like so much art, which is why I think a lot of people complain about cultural appropriation, because we take the things that are around us for granted. And then you have somebody who doesn't have this stuff, and then they come here, they're just like mind blown. They're like, oh my gosh, look at all this art, look at all this thing. This is all what I can do to it. Let me market it. Let me do this. Because those are the things that we take for granted because we're just, surrounded by all this culture and all this art. Like, we have over 200, we speak over 200 languages in Cameroon. There's like how many different cultures, the fabrics, the art, the food. Like, it's just, yeah, I'm proud of everything, because you can use the way of life or just the surroundings in Cameroon and other African countries to create pieces that will tell the story, But I don't think you can say that about the West with other like different countries, because there really isn't that much culture or that many stories to tell.
So for you, what is that one thing about where you're coming from that makes you who you are?
I think it's about the way that I was raised, right? I think my dad and my parents were very intentional with the way that they raised us, the values that they instilled in us. So I think that that's something that has stuck with me, and it's almost like me failing is never an option. Like, I have to be successful, because those were things that were instilled in me at a young age. Because it's like, I mean, honestly, if you don't raise your kids or you don't instill values to them at home, the streets are going to raise them. That's just what it is. So my parents were very intentional about raising us and making sure that we had all these values, and that we literally knew that we're bound to be successful and failure is not an option. Literally. My dad told us, if you're not successful, you don't have a job, you cannot take care of yourself, I'm never going to bless you to get married, because I'm not sending a slave to a man's house.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I want to meet your dad.
Oh, he's funny. You will love him.
Okay. The small story that I've got for today, always a blessing. I've been around Ali Kimbeng, my boss. Do you have anything to say? Hey, wait, let me ask you a question. Is there any question I was not smart enough to ask
Oh
you?
my God, you asking me my questions now? LOL. No, there was no question you were smart enough to ask me, so this was actually pretty good. At least I can't think of anything.
Okay. So you can close the show.
Yeah, so thank you for watching another episode of Turide, and stay tuned for more trending topics. Bye. I'm not doing that. What he did. Not me doing it. How many times are you gonna do it? I'm pretty sure that the camera is like, it don't do. See, that's pigeon.
It needs one for me and one to
Did you hear my pigeon? It
see?
don't do.
Yeah, Nigeria pigeon.
It don't do.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I think we have 20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
That's good.